afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Citation 10 mission to Bovanenkovo. Today we're in the Citation X in the Gazpromavia livery, as you can see, parked outside on the ramp. Today we have one objective and one objective only. Two main objectives, but one priority mission. To deliver a team of 7 people to the Bovanenkovo Airport in the Yamal Territory of Russia following an oil rig explosion. Their mission is simple: to go in, assess the damage and report back to the company. Our mission is to make sure they get there safe and to make sure the aircraft has no issues on the way. We are expecting about 1.5 hours of flight time, or 1.5 hours in total for the airtime, or indeed the whole flight overall. We've got a total block fuel today of 2,190 kg. 7 passengers have mentioned, all of which consisting of various different professions and peoples. So just to run through the people on board, we have 2 engineers. We have a lawyer in there to go through the legal stuff. We have an insurance representative, of course, they need to get their insurance sorted. A company director to make sure his company's dealing with it properly and to report back to the other bosses. Few specialist medics in case anyone was injured, and apparently there was, but there's also localized medical services on scene apparently. And public relations director, of course, so the media gets a hold of the story, they've got somebody on hand to correct it. So yeah, 7 people, including 2 pilots, so we actually have 9 people on board. And we're going up to 45,000 feet today on the 06 runway departure to Gos 1 Echo, so we'll be flying that. We'll be landing at runway 28, Unco 2 Golf. Both of those are nav approaches, radio navigation approaches, which means there's no ILS. Entirely hand flown for the most part, or using a combination of MCP and other things. So just before we hop in the plane, we're already sort of in a standby mode. Just parked out here on the ramp. As you can see, we're sort of in standby. We have our navigation lights on and some emergency lights on inside. Just look how beautiful it is for the trip. Just going to make sure the configuration is correct. So real world weather is on, just to prove it is on. There you can see it, and track on local time. So we've pretty much done that. So yeah, lovely day. I'm hoping for no issues. Small airport. This is not really the sort of airport you would fly this jet in, although for some reason it does have general aviation, but it also has, you know, random KLM 737, the Flying Dutchman over there. So obviously it's capable of handling big aircraft. It just didn't come up as being usable for this aircraft when I selected him. But in terms of the livery, yeah, let's have a quick look around. So I downloaded this completely free, the Citation X. It's a nice blue, of course matching the company colours, nice blues, and of course the whites there blending in from the metal on the aircraft. Of course the flag of Russia. We are departing from, according to SimBrief, ULAM, so Uniform Lima Alpha Mike, also known as, now forgive the pronunciation, Naryan-Mar, something like that. We're just in the north of the Russia, just northeast of Moscow, quite close to Vorkuta. This was the only airport suitable for the people to fly out of. So yeah, let's just quickly walk around. We've got nose thing there, nose storage for the captain's bags. That's pretty cool. That's always there though. So the Citation, yeah, all the colours, the blues, nice teal there by the look of it, and a dark blue. RA, of course, the Russian tail abbreviation. G up there for Gazprom, of course, with Gazpromavia, a real airline company which operates real aircraft. They don't actually operate a Cessna Citation X. They do operate 737s though, and other similar planes. But today, on an urgent mission, and they're using one of their own private company jets. So for the sake of this reality, they have a Citation X. So yeah, very cool. It's not much change on the outside, it's just the colours and the logo. So we'll go ahead and hop in, and you'll notice that we'll stop in the cabin here first. And have a look around. As you can see, those emergency lights there are lit up, but barely illuminated because of its daytime. So you can't see it on the seats, but there's been some minor changes. So we're going to walk forward a little bit, and boom, right there. So they got the Gazprom logo on the back of the seats. That's very cool. On every seat, you just can't see the back ones, of course, facing the wall. And we're going to hop into the cockpit slowly. So you can see the rest of it. There's no logos here as far as I'm aware. There is a logo in here somewhere. There it is. So just on the captain's left-hand control panel, for lights and things, we have a G for Gazprom. Let's turn that up so we can... maybe that'll light it up a bit more. It's really bright outside as it is. Oxygen, of course. So yeah, a little bit of a cool livery, I thought. Let's hop in the seat. Let's make sure that we're doing our jobs. There we go. And before we get started on the startup, thank you very much for being here. Thank you so much for the support on recent videos. Be aware that today's video, of course, like most live streams, does have a delay, and it's about 1 minute. So there's 1 minute delay between what I say and what you receive. I can't get rid of it. If anyone knows how to get rid of it, please let me know in the comments. So yeah, let's crack on with startup. First of all, I'm going to get the weight and balance done. That seems the best thing to do, but before we get the weight and balance, so kind of jumping ahead and jumping back and forth. I'm going to make sure we got the whole system on, so emergency lights. We don't want any fuel flow on because we need a fuel truck, so I'm going to call ground service there. We are going to get the APU started. It's absolutely fine to have the APU on. Fault warning on the pressurization system, that's normal. So 45,000 feet, really pushing the altitude limits or capabilities of the Citation 10. We'll get the APU on, we'll wait for the passengers. I'm on board, and we got one lawyer on board who's keen to get there. I'm not sure why. Of course, we're waiting for all the others, though, the engineers, the PR specialist, etc, etc. If you do want to know who's on board, it's at the beginning of the video. We'll talk a little bit about it, so go back and watch it. Okay, let's get this all sorted. Safety belts, come on. Passengers can load up. Your damper, of course. Now, it's pretty warm, it's 18 degrees, but standard practice is to stick the pitos on. Like last time, we had a bit of a failure on one, so hopefully nothing happens today. Windshield there, we're going to turn it down the cabin as standard at about 16 degrees. We'll keep it nice and mild for them. Just bear in mind when we get to the Yamal Territory, the Bovanenkovo Airport, it is, like, from what I've seen on the images, it's usually snowy, it's usually quite cold. So we might have to turn the heating up, or we might have to stay in the aircraft until further notice. Now, let me just check. So, SimBrief, dispatch.simbrief.com, you can get your flight plans pre-filed. I do need to download it, that's one thing I forgot to do. Very simple, from SimBrief, download it using the flight plan download section. Take the download from your folder. Download folder in your computer, that is. And simply copy it or cut it and paste it into the X-Plane 12 FMS plans folder. So we're going to USDB today. Now I've done that, so load flight plan, so USDB. There it is. Uniform Sierra Delta Bravo 01, so that's the only flight plan of that kind. Okay, so SimBrief is giving us a standard arrival, which does not exist in X-Plane 12 database. So it is a little bit frustrating for the flight in terms of how we're going to do this. We could always just fly direct. Let's see if that's going to work though. Let's see what happens. So let's go on departure. So runway 6, check. Gossa 1 Echo. Check. That's coming up, so that's fine. Navigation arrival. Runway 28, standard arrival procedure. Unco 2 Golf. So we have Unco 1 Golf. So this is, again, this is something that happens, but is not too much of an issue. So in this case, it's the Unco 1 Golf arrival, and the reason it's changed to 2 is just because they've updated it, maybe with some minor changes, speeds, to altitudes, to waypoints, etc. But usually it's fine. And we're going in for the RNAV approach, runway 28. There's not many options there. So RMP, I think it is. And arrival. Okay, great. So let's do the weight and balance now we've got that sorted. So weight and balance, we have 7 people on board, including 2 pilots. Fuel truck's just arrived, that's good. So two pilots, estimating the weights, 4 people in the front, and 3 people in the back. Not too sure how they're gonna sit. They might move around. And baggage, we've got 175 kg of cargo. I suspect that some of that is medical supplies, documents, etc. All those legal documents weigh an awful lot. So there's also one feature on this that is a little bit temperamental, is the adding the weight in numbers. It sometimes doesn't work, especially on the fuel. So we want 1221, so 2,190 kg. Simply hit enter. So not much fuel, I'm not going to lie, there's not much fuel there. We're going to take a little bit more in the extra center storage, so 246 extra in the storage to account for any issues. So where's that fuel truck? There's the fuel truck. So we just imagine he's just refueled us. ATC, I don't think there'll be anything here. We're on the Unicorn 122.8. There's nothing here, there'll probably be nothing there when we get there either. Okay, so let's get the engines popping. Unlock them from their standard lock position. Switch the fuels on. There we go, let's get the door closed. Door is closed. Now, on a jet, I've flown jets before. Quite an old one now, I don't think it's used as much, but they used to have like a door notice on here and it would say door open. But on this one, there's no indication whatsoever that the door is indeed open. If you want this to start quicker, you could put the bleed air on max, that might help it. Could turn the packs off, etc, etc. Now QNH has been given to me in inches rather than hectopascals, so they give me from Simbrief 29902. It's a standard pressure reading. 1013, which is 29902, of course. It's very, very lucky that it was standard pressure, because I don't know what the I don't know how, aside from using that backup altimeter, I don't know how to calculate it. Okay, so we have a number 1 successful start. Let's stick the ignition to normal, stick number 2 on. Monitor that fuel situation. So you can see pressure building up in the hydraulics. Let's switch the hydraulic pump on just to help the system. So you see that fuel, good fuel in each tank. This is coming up in pounds, but we have put it in kg. You see that fuel flow. So the right engine is increasing. Electrics will increase in a second on the right hand side. We've got low amps on the left. Does seem a little bit quiet, so crank the volume up. Hope you can hear it. It's very quiet for me as well. I think I've got the sound. Yes, the sound is way down. That would help. There we go. Okay, so successful start, number 2 as well. We have a good start there. Let's check navs. VNAV, we haven't performed initialization because we didn't have weights on board. So let's go ahead and do that now. Cruise altitude 450. It's giving us 15 degrees of flaps for takeoff. I'll do a quick control check. 138 for V2, 125 V1. V2 is usually safe climb out speed. And landing speed will of course change, say in 122, 127 at the moment, but that'll probably change to about 120 when we arrive, maybe even less. Awesome, so initialization performed, so the VNav should work. As long as we can select it now, rather than having to struggle with it later. And bearing in mind we're carrying 7, quite wealthy individuals, quite important people to Gazpromavia and to our company. So we want them to get to Bovanenkovo Airport safely. We want them to complete their mission safely. We need to get the oil rig sorted. There is absolutely, in terms of safety, there's no rushing and there's no messing around. So 15 degrees of flaps. We've got a safe deployment there. We can check on the control services. So ailerons and things, elevators. Check. Now we are IFR, so we're going to talk something a little bit random. 3511, and we'll turn that on. Okay, so there's no ILS, remember. Help if we turn the generator on. Let's turn the generator on and get the APU shut down. Let's isolate. Let's turn that and that. Off. We have the APU there shutting down. So systems are all set up. Safety is a priority. We don't want to be rushing this mission. We have, aside from the important people on board and important mission to complete, we have limited options in terms of alternates. We have 0 alternate airports. We have one on the system. We have one on the flight plan as UOOO. But realistically, that's considerably further than USDB, our destination. And, if we want to do something like a diversion because of bad weather or whatever reason it might be, we're literally going to be travelling further than we did to get there, if that makes sense. It's twice the distance to get to the alternate airport. So yeah, we're really going to be taking this carefully, cautiously if you like. Okay, APU shut down, generator off, master switch off, we're ready to taxi. So that's off. Make sure the ground idle works. 5 degrees of flaps. We have a different call sign today because we're an emergency. We're actually a rescue mission, so we have a Charlie 1 Romeo Bravo Echo call sign. It's not anything special in aviation, but it matches our country code and our sort of mission in general. So B in the call sign, let me just talk you through it, is for Bovanenkovo, and E is for emergency. The R being for Russia, so we have Russian Bovanenkovo emergency in the call sign, just to give you a little bit of a hint. In terms of departure, runway 6, we're really close, straight down whatever that taxiway is to the runway. I need to learn how to pronounce this. The best I've got is Naryan-Mar. Yeah, we've got the beacons on. Difficult to see it in the light, so we've got a few Barons here, Cessnas, one random 737, and of course Citation. It's the holding point for runway 06. Landing lights on, taxi lights off, ignitions to constant, transponder is on, P2 heats, window shield heats, strobes on, auxiliary pump can come off, we've got control of the control surfaces, trim is in the green, we're pretty much ready to depart, so let's give the ATC a quick call. Bovanenkovo traffic. Oh damn. Excuse me everybody, just made a huge mistake. It's not Bovanenko, it's Naryan-Mar. Naryan-Mar traffic, Charlie 1 Romeo Bravo Echo, departing runway 06, Gosu 1 Echo departure. Strange, I said there was no Goss's departure. Let me just double check this. So it's basically the correct departure. I think it was the arrival that was different. Right, ready to go. Set this for 45,000 feet. It'll be a long climb, this is to 45,000. Cleared initially up to 7,000 feet for the departure route, and then we're going up to 45. So until Gosses or Gossia, not far to be honest. Just have to bear that in mind on the departure. So your dampers on. I'm not going to set the toga today or takeoff thrust setting using the takeoff go around button. I'm going to just simply do it manually. And there's reasons for it. I don't want to stress the plane out unnecessarily. So everything is working. We've got pressurization programmed. Bleed air is on, all ready to go. First set. Airspeed alive. 80 knots, cross check. A lot of wind on this. 120. Oh goodness. V1 has been passed, and V2 gear up. Very quick turn out there to the left. I really hope the climb out's going to be smooth. Flaps up. Slats up. Lovely area, there was barely anything in it. So this would definitely be, obviously there's people living here, but this would definitely be snow covered the majority of the time. Bear in mind that's 7,000 feet initial altitude. Climb thrust absolutely sufficient to do its job. Ignition normal. Fuel boosts are normal. Transponder altitude. try and fly the aircraft properly. On the lights off, turbine sync on. So we didn't check the wind on takeoff, but it was pretty, judging by that departure, we were pretty on line, pretty on centre, or we were all over the place initially on the runway, just because it was quite bumpy, but yeah, winds, strong tailwind there, about 18 to 20 knots, so that's going to give us a good boost. It's 10,000 feet, so autopilot's coming on. So this will just fly straight up to 45,000. I'd say 19,000 feet there for the FMC. I think it said unable to do 7,000 at Gossa. So it'll go whatever altitude, obviously 19,000 is coming up as the predicted altitude there. And then afterwards, hopefully everything else should be sufficient. Anti-ice. When we reach a safe altitude, I think it's probably alright if you step out your seats now, ladies and gentlemen. Seatbelt signs are coming off. Feel free to use the vanity closets and get some work done on the way. Yeah, all those rivers, you can see them obviously on the map. All those tiny rivers all blend together to reach the sea up here. Amazing. And our destination is somewhere off to the east there. Amazing views. Amazing. Of course, there's the sea.
Самое время вставить реп.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. There's 19,000. For some reason we're leveling off. We really don't want to be leveling off. We need to go straight up to 45,000. We didn't monitor the situation. Supposed to be flying this extra precautious, but the aircraft is just all over the place. Trying to maintain that silly altitude of 19,000 feet whilst overspeeding. Once we pass Gossa, we go straight up to 45,000. So obviously 19,000 feet was the initial altitude, not 7. It happens, it does happen. Very easy to lose control of an aircraft like this because of how powerful the engines are and how fast it can go. I mean, just look how far we've come already. We do have a tailwind of about 18 knots. You know, just about 18, and I did learn as well, this symbol is an animal, and if there's birds, it'll show birds on the map, and I have had engine strikes because of it. Just be aware, if we to go down low, we may see, I don't know, deer perhaps, and you know, deer, reindeer. It's not going to be bears up here, I don't think. It'd be cool though if we could see it from the aircraft, we could see these animals. I think if we take the time to go nice and low, we may be able to see them. So far we can't see much at this height. Okay, there's our climb to 45,000. Set climb thrust. Minus 26 outside, so we're going to stick all the anti-ice on for now. And alter the cabin temperature. 18 degrees. Check the pressurization, make sure it's pressurizing. So at the moment we're pressurized about 500 feet a minute. I'd say that's probably alright, but we're already at 22,000. We can increase it, so we click increase. You see it's increasing the rate at which we're pressurized. That may be a benefit. I usually find it can just help. Rapid pressurization may help better pressurize the aircraft, especially if there's an emergency situation. We could change the rate, and then it'll change the rate at which it happens. Still happens. Faster we increase it full, and we're increasing 2,000 feet a minute. We'll keep that about normal though. This little dial on the left. Cabin dump obviously dumps the pressure. We don't want to do that. Of course, courtesy to any Russian viewers or anyone who speaks Russian, Dobro Proshalivit, Kak vaši dela. How are you all basically? How are you all doing? Let me know in the chat. Do you know Gazpromavia? You've seen it in operation. I've had one operation, one view of the operations online of the 737s on takeoff. That was about it. We have our own livery today. Very nice blue colours. The Gazprom logo on the tail. We'll be flying emergency mission to Bovanenkovo Airport in the Yamal Territory. So very cool. I'm going to step away from the aircraft, and when I come back we can have a look at some of the aircraft in their fleet. Estimated flight time was 1 hour and 29 minutes. Airtime 52 minutes. 1 hour 30 total, or 1 hour 20 total. We've been on this for about 40 minutes, including startup and takeoff, etc. And if you have just joined, just be bearing in mind that there is a delay of about quite a long delay of about a minute on the stream, 50 seconds to a minute, so just be aware of that. So I'll be back soon and we'll look at them other aircraft in the fleet. Captain has returned, everybody. It's time to have a look at those planes. I can see people popping in and out of the stream. Of course, welcome, Privia Plus. Tell me how you are, tell me whether you like this kind of aircraft. Cessna Citation X, Gazpromavia livery, as included in the title. We are on a mission today. A mission to deliver several important people to Bovanenkovo Airport, because there's been an oil rig explosion, so we need to go and assess the damage. Let's set standard pressure before we forget. And 36,000 feet's been reached pretty quickly. So I have in the past usually sometimes switched fuel boost on at this altitude just to help. Look at fuel flow, it's minus 10 in the tank. We have got anti-ice on. Minus 24 on the pitot things. Or on the wing sort of level thing. Can't see the ice build up of those minus. Undoubtedly will be at minus temperatures. Engine, we can just monitor that. There's of course FADEC. Control the engines there so it doesn't get overpowered or burn out, etc. Control positions, good amount of voltage there in DC. I always have, for some reason, more power on the left side than the right side in terms of, more temperature on the left. So as you can see, it's 38 degrees on the left and 36 on the right. So if anyone's perhaps an engineer on this aircraft or just the plane in general, maybe you're able to explain that. Maybe something to do with the APU, possibly. So I don't know. Let me know. Although the APU is switched off, so it probably isn't that. V speeds, landing speeds. We've already got a VREF there, or in this case VAP. We did have takeoff speeds. We can check different systems. So fuel. You can do it on the right side or the left, it's absolutely the same thing. Electrics, APUs, good thing there if the APU I didn't talk through earlier. Because you monitor the temperature, it's minus 40 now. On the engine at the back. Engine, it's good start pressure. Yeah, so everything's working as it should. ICAS we just checked. EF timers, so flight time 20 minutes. That's quite handy. MFD setup, traffic, terrain, check. MFD setup, PFD setup. We can change that to inches or hectopascals, which is fantastic. I'm going to keep that on flight time, so you can monitor how long we've been in the air. And as promised, we're going to look at Gazpromavia, the Gazprom subsidiary airline aviation based in Moscow, Russia. It operates passenger cargo charters, mainly in support of the oil and gas industry. Hence our mission today is to get this crew of 7 people to the oil rig. Should be able to see it on the screen now. Should be able to see Gazpromavia. Let's have a look at their aircraft, just while we let the plane fly itself. Hope it's popping up. Yeah, so Gazpromavia flies things to do with the company, in other words workers and bosses, etc. So we are more interested in an aircraft fleet. Now as mentioned earlier, they do have a 737 aircraft and they also apparently have some Falcons. That's very cool. And apparently every year they're expanding, so not only have they got a lot of money, they're spending it sort of wisely. We've got some real classics in this list, by the way, so take note. If you've seen my channel before, you'll know I've flown in the Tupolev 154B2. I haven't flown in the 154M, but it's certainly one I would like to try along with the Aviation 76, etc. So here we have Operation of more than 30 fixed-wing aircraft, 737-700s, that's pretty cool. Dassault Falcon 900XE Easy, very expensive planes. This first one is, that's probably more than the 737. Dassault Falcons 900 Yakovlev 42 Delta, Yakovlev 40, there's the Tupolev 154M, Antonov 74, Ilyushin 76 TD, and over 100 helicopters, including the Mi-2 and all the rest you can see there. That's pretty good though for an airline based prominently on the the oil and gas industries. There's no doubt lack of those planes in the air today. Yeah, that's a good point actually, James Lynn. Sun heating left side battery, but I've noticed it. I've even noticed it in cold weather as well, so I've assumed that it isn't the sun. Just mute that window a second. As I was just talking through it before, it's coming up as 38 degrees on the left. Next flight, I will 100% take notice of where the sun is, but I'm pretty sure it's not dependent on its position. Anyway, we're at 42,500 feet. Yeah, 42,500 feet, almost at 45,000. Quick flick back to Gazpromavia. We're going to have a look at some of these planes. So let's have a look at the Ilyushin 76 TD. Let's have a look at that one. So we're going to go. They got any pictures on their site? Ah, there we go. Saves us having to look for them, so they got the plane pictures. Yeah, so some of these weren't listed. You can see. No mention of the Sukhoi Superjet. These are very popular. These are of course built and made in Russia. There's a new one coming out soon as well. There's the 737-700. The Dassault Falcon. Fairly old aircraft, all of them. It's a shame they haven't got a picture of some of the Tupolevs or Antonovs. We're going to about Gazprom, so we can see some of their locations. Of course, Bovanenkovo isn't just a random destination, it's a real destination that Gazpromavia flies to, and the transport workers there, etc. They handle aircraft maintenance, sales of air transportation for its own airline agency. That makes sense. They're all independent by the sounds of it. Airports, and there's 3 home base airports, and Bovanenkovo, so that's the one we're going to today. So that's actually owned and operated by Gazpromavia. Very cool. Okay, 1,000 feet to go, let's get off that. Let's go back to the aircraft. Okay, so I'm actually looking at the electrical system on the Citation X. Interestingly, so this may be why the temperature's a little bit higher, so we got more things on the left hand side. In other words, the left side battery is powering more things in the aircraft. So it's powering the interior master switch, which we've got on. It's powering the flaps. It's powering the ICAS. Whereas the right hand system doesn't have to, it just has to power the APU. From the left, right bus, or the left bus is doing all those other options. So yeah, that's a potential explanation there. Just looking at electrical system block diagram here of the airplane and systems for the 750. Anyway, going back to the plane, we've got an arrival shortly, probably have to start descending to. Thank you so much everyone who's been here today and watching this. Thank you for your questions, thank you for participating. So we're expecting the runway 28 Unco 2 Golf arrival. As mentioned earlier, that wasn't in the X-Wing 12 system, they've not got an updated air rack cycle, so it'll be an Unco 1 Golf arrival, which is practically the same thing. And local QNH should be about the same as it is now, so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare for our descent. Relatively short flight, the stream's only be going on about an hour, but already, actually then again, short flight, but we've just come across some intense clouds right here. We're wedged yet again between two flight level of clouds, so this will be interesting when we descend down. We're going to be in the thick of it. Anyway, going back down to the descent, probably go down to 12,000 feet. So you're sitting there 17,000 feet at the next waypoint, and then 6,000 feet for Uncar. Breaking the thing there. Very low approach though, since it's radio navigation to 1,300 feet. Cool, so let's set 15,000 feet. So we've already passed, yeah, we've already passed that top of descent. feet. Very, very handy though. If you are concerned about it not descending on time, all you need to do is change the altitude in your MCP there, or make control panel. Usually on the 737 it's up in the central console. So this little flex thing is called the MCP. However, you got some dials down here for it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We're now on our descent into Bovanenkovo Airport. Thank you for flying Gazpromavia, and we hope your mission is a success when we arrive. Just bear in mind you will have to remain in your seats until we reach a safe enough location, which will probably be on the ramp at the airport. Remember, the team will be waiting for you to take you to the site. Thank you once again for your cooperation. We hope you fly with us in the future. It almost looks like there's an ice build-up on the rim of the engine there. That's so cool. The blackened effect there, that's most likely the remnants of ice build-up. The same on the boot press, the wing there. Very dark. We have got anti-ice on, of course. Very cool. So, update the situation. We're going down to 6,000 feet. Enough to idle the engine at this point. We're going way too high up. So usually an RNAV approach is a combination of ATC and piloting. We don't have that available today, so we're kind of stuck with Unicom. There's absolutely nobody in this area, as expected. Still got that strong tailwind. That's probably why we've got here so quickly. Yeah, absolutely awful weather. This is the sort of thing you have to contend with an X-plane. You get these unpredictable sections. We have birds in the vicinity as well. We're very lucky to have avoided them right through the thick of it though, and there's absolutely tons of birds scattered throughout this region and tons of wildlife in general, so we're kind of screwed. If we hit them, we're going to experience undoubtedly an engine failure. Pray to God it doesn't happen. And pray to God we get through these clouds soon. Looks like quite bad ones. There's no thermals though. No cold or warm thermals, so we're pretty good in terms of that. It's just the turbulence. There we go, breaking through that harsh cold weather at the top. It really is looking pretty down there. So we're going to go ahead and set up for our suspicious landing on this mission. Would be cool if we could say this in the Russian language. I don't really know how to. Landing is coming over Pasadka. Somebody could give me some hints and tips on that, that might be helpful. I think of us flying for Gazpromavia, I speak a little bit of Russian, but it's not happening. there's another word for landing which I'm not sure how to pronounce. Prizemlimsa. Prizemlimsa. Or something like that. Helpful we could hear it. Anyway, we'll be landing soon. Skora Prizemlimsa. Prizemlimsa. I understand this is not a language learning channel, but no doubt we'll need it in the future for these flights, especially when ATC comes online. Thank you to everyone who joined today. We really want to see you here in the future, and we really want to continue to do these mission flights as well, not just in Gazpromavia livery aircraft, but in other aircraft as well. I will download a lot airline in the future and an Aeroflot as well, so we can get those done, and possibly Air France if I have the chance. We're almost at Lepes, which means we should be about 6,000 feet by Encore. It has a convoluted approach at the end there, so it's all... We'll get to a certain waypoint and then it'll all be hand flown. The airport will actually be off to the left hand side of us. So you can just see the Bovanenkovo Tower region there. I think that only goes up to 3,500 feet anyway. So although it's given us 6,000 feet, we need to go down to about 2,000 feet, realistically. No ILS code, seatbelt signs are on. Let's just do the checklists. So seatbelt signs are on. Slats deployed. Safe speed for slats and flats is about 250 maximum. Sort of pushing that safety speed there, and there's some references up here for, well, other things, other climb out speeds, etc. Go down and check the landing speed on the system. So V speeds, landing speed, so it's still the same thing, it's still saying 127. That's probably to do with the amount of people on board. Flight time's been 43 minutes. That's not too bad. And 5 degrees of flaps. I'm really bringing that speed down now. It's saying 270, but realistically we're not going to be slow enough if we keep going at 270. Let's do vertical speed. So I turned the anti-ice off, and thankfully the ice detection system is working, so ice detected. As it shows you on the engine, there's an ice build-up out there, so we've got to be cautious of it. Let's just check with the local QNHs. You'll be able to see it on the iOS. So QNH, can't quite see the airport down there, but it'll tell us up here, so that's close enough. I think 1004. Yeah, very low pressure region right now. Very bumpy. There's a depressurization. We need to depressurize the aircraft. 10,000 feet, so let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Did a cabin dump. That's not the best thing to do. There we go. Keep the cabin dump on. to dump that. It seems to put it in the system rather than out of the system. There we go. It should decrease. There we go. So there we go. It's starting to dump that pressure now, which is what we want. Increase the rate at which it dumps it out. So I've used that cabin dump. I did think the cabin dump was to get rid of the pressure, but for some reason it was increasing it temporarily. Let's see if it changes. Okay, there we go. I think we're getting rid of that pressure now for the system. We've isolated the valve. We could keep it open, closed. Sorry. I think we need to keep it closed. Okay. So here's that approach I was talking about. When we get down here, we're going to have to do a manual hand-flown approach, presuming we can see. Hopefully we'll be at 7,000 feet by then. A lot of turbulence. I'm going to stick the landing lights on, engine sync can come off. Fuel boost on, nice and early. We're going to stick ignition on now. We're sticking on continuous early as well. Bad visibility, so we're going to be kind of hands-on for the approach. We don't want to be messing around with switches. Not had any transponder squawks, not had any ATC control, but it's always a courtesy to give them. Remember, we're Charlie 1 Romeo Bravo Echo coming into Bovanenkovo Airport. Trying to find it. So here it is. So we're going to come down this airway. We're going to take a right hand turn, and then we're going to come in for runway 28. Yes. So all we've got is an NDB. So let's tune that in. That might be a lifesaver. So this is not really suitable for the aircraft, but it's suitable to land out in terms of landing distance. And QNH is 1004. So we're going to go ahead and set that now. The low glide slope, we're not even tuned into an ILS. We shouldn't be tuned into an ILS frequency. Let's just randomly tune that out a second. Absolutely poor conditions. You can see this is why an emergency mission like this is so dangerous. Not least because of the weather. Thousand feet to go. That should be bringing us down to 2,000 feet. So I brought extra fuel in the hopes that we might, just in case we might need it. I'm kind of thinking, just given the harsh conditions, we're not even going to be able to land this. I really hope we can do. So it seems to be taking us around to final, and then, yeah, I thought it was going to end here, and then we'd have to float it hand flown, but I think it's going to do that last turn for us. Struggling to maintain speed. It was absolutely freezing. We're +2 now, so I'm going to stick the anti-ice off. We get another one and I'll just stick it back on. I'll stick the tail flood on since it's bad visibility. We're building up a bit of speed. I'm trying to maintain about 220. Slow our speed down to about 180. Final touchdown speed, I'll go in a little bit faster, so we're aiming for about 135, I think, is the absolute minimum. So ADF frequency down there, you can check it up here with the ADF. You can see where the blue arrow points, that's ADF. Don't need the second one on. Stick that on the co-pilot side as well. "15 degrees of flaps." Bovanenkovo traffic, Charlie 1 Romeo Bravo Echo is approaching the final for runway 28. Absolutely nobody within a 500-mile radius of this region. Feel free to give this a like, to come back in the future for future adventures. I'm hoping to do another 737. As I say, I'm going to download lots Polish Airlines livery, so we'll do a 737 flight out of Warsaw again. Not to Minsk, though, we'll go somewhere else. We'll probably head down to the Balkans. I want to fly into Macedonia, so 737 to Macedonia from Warsaw might be worth it, or we could do Warsaw to somewhere like Innsbruck. If you've watched the channel before, you can go back and you can see my Innsbruck approach, completely in the dark, flying through the mountains in 737, and we absolutely buttered it. So yeah, feel free to go and check that out. I think we're in Smart Wings for that mission. I think it was from Prague as well, so go and check it out while you can. In terms of this flight, we'll do a Citation X flight in the future on the Trans-Siberian Airways adventure. Gazpromavia. Oh wow, cool. Yeah, we'll do another Gazpromavia mission in the future as well. Just provided this one's provided we touch down alright, then we can carry on from this Yamal Territory next time as well. This is absolutely impossible to see. I cannot see a thing. It's giving us 1300 feet though. I'm going to start descending. 1300 feet. I really hope this clears up. We are completely covered in clouds at the moment and there's no break. So we're literally clouded out. Quite a while. Thank goodness we missed the birds though. There's been a heck of a lot of flocks in the area. No doubt a bird strike region. Some kind of ground species there, an antelope or something. Okay, runway 28, we're just turning final. Fingers crossed we can make this. No thermals, no severe warning there. The only thing we want to contend with is the runway length, the visibility, of course the rivers and the lakes there. We do not want to overspeed or land in the wrong place. Now we're on final, let's slow down to a final speed. I'm going to keep it at 140 just because of the turbulence. About 1300 feet, I can just about see the ground, so hopefully we can see the lights as well. Just going to adjust the seat position. We need a high up view for this one. We are going to be instrument flying, but we're also going to be keeping an eye out for those runway lights. Gear down. Full flaps. I then take this off autopilot. I'm really nervous about this whole situation right now. Let's just go flight. This is very dangerous what I'm doing, using the autopilot to descend. I literally cannot see a thing outside the window, and we're only, 1 mile away from the runway, so I don't even think we're going to make it. Silly mistake. This is so dangerous. Like the ground is barely in view.
Sync rate.
I have no idea where we are. There's the runway lights. Thank goodness.
500,
Just about saved by the bell.
400,
Oh, blimey.
300,
Way too high on that approach.
200,
Would be a go around, but we've got no chance of doing this again with the amount of fuel on board.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, there we go. Just about softest touchdown you've ever seen. Late touchdown indeed. We had really poor visibility. We were way high up. There's no ILS. It makes it 20 times more difficult. Well, welcome to Bovanenkovo, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain in seats till we get to the gates. Thank you very much for flying with Gazpromavia. I hope your mission is a success. Taxi lights on, landing lights off, fuel boost to normal, ignition normal, we can set the APU on, isolation valves. Strobes off. Well, what a landing, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute brutal experience that was. Right, APU's on. Let's get takes into the gates. Anti-ice is off. Let's stick the pitot heats off. And park up. Not many spaces. You'll notice this general aviation. Mostly we are classed as general aviation, this size aircraft. It's not quite breaking the rules. It's completely dead though. There's no other planes in the vicinity. Airport might be closed though, so we're literally the only people here to save this bloody oil rig. Fantastic, we're the pick of the crop in terms of parking. Just going to go ahead and make this nice and easy. We're going to go ahead and taxi right in front, straight ahead to that parking space. Taxi lights off. Fuel boosts, generators off. Fuel control off as well. Window heats off. Seatbelt signs, beacons off and seatbelt signs off. Leave the nav lights on, the tail lights on and the APU on as well. And the window heat actually, just because we have to stay in the aircraft while they go off and do their mission. Transponder just standby. Doesn't seem to be the option to stand by the transponder. Put it in test mode, maybe that'll work. Well, what an experience, ladies and gentlemen. We've made it into a very gloomy and dark Bovanenkovo Airport. I hope you enjoyed the somewhat turbulent flights. Let's go ahead and look at this replay, shall we? Quick look at the replay. Disconnected from VATSIM, of course. Let's go and look at this landing. It was pretty steep at the end there. And it was pretty intense as well. Look at this, I kept saying caught blindly on landing. I mean, just absolutely insane, the lack of visibility there. I literally could not see a single thing coming into land. There's the runway lights. We've just about spotted them at the end as we disengage the autopilot. Can't see him from the cockpit, but as you zoom and look down, you can already see we're way too high up. Losing a lot of height relatively quickly. Super dangerous. Slight lag as well. Super dangerous. We are on the centre line to an extent, contending with that crosswind. So at this point, it'd be go around most likely, but you know, we don't really have time for that. We've got a mission to complete, we've got limited time to do it. Oh, what a touchdown, eh? Long flare at the end there to burn up that speed. But an absolutely solid touchdown that was. Absolutely fantastic. Straight down the centre line to an extent. Closer to the centre line than it would have been in the 737. And of course taxi off to the gates. So yeah, what an absolutely incredible flight. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, and thank you for flying with Gazpromavia today. I really hope to see you in the next one, where we'll be flying either the Citation X or the 737 from Warsaw to Innsbruck. So please come along to that. Have a fantastic day. See you then.